The news hit the princess's mansion like a thunderclap. My husband, the prince consort, had returned with a woman heavy with child, 6 months along, by the looks of it. Barely had the whispers settled when my loyal maid, Juyue, burst into the room, her eyes blazing with righteous fury. She was already sharpening a knife, practically bouncing on her toes with eagerness. "Your Highness, princess. Let's go deal with that shameless pair right now. Those filthy dogs won't know what hit them." I waved a hand lazily, stifling a yawn. "No rush." Juyue's fierce grin faltered, her enthusiasm snuffed out like a candle in the wind. She let out a reluctant, almost petulant, "Oh," her shoulders slumping as she sheathed her blade. I stretched, feeling the weight of the day settle into my bones. "I'm tired. Help me to bed. Tell the prince consort and that woman to kneel in the main hall. If they dare disobey, let the mansion guards handle it, and don't hold back." Lady Qin, my ever-cautious attendant, hesitated, her brows knitting together. "But, Your Highness, the prince consort is, after all, from a noble family. If word of this gets out, might it tarnish your reputation?" I turned to her with a half-smile, my voice cool and unshaken. "In this princess's mansion, I am the greatest authority." Lady Chen's lips curved into a knowing smile, a flicker of pride in her eyes. She bowed crisply and retreated to carry out my orders, her steps brisk with purpose. Juyue, still simmering with indignation, spat toward the hall where the offenders awaited. Then, with a huff, she took my arm and guided me to my chambers. My room was a sanctuary of opulence, every inch dripping with luxury, silk draperies cascading from the walls, jade ornaments gleaming in the soft lamplight, and a bed piled high with 3 layers of the finest. Silkworm bedding, so soft it felt like sinking into a cloud. It was a space that screamed wealth and taste, a stark contrast to the disdain that always flickered across Shen Huaiming's face whenever he stepped inside. My prince consort had never hidden his contempt for my extravagance, his pinched expressions a silent judgment on my love for all things lavish. I'd bitten my tongue time and again, enduring his lack of refinement. But now? The thought of soon being rid of this tasteless, aesthetics-blind man filled me with a giddy thrill. And if I could take down Zhao Jing along with him? Double the joy. With that delicious prospect dancing in my mind, I nestled into the plush bedding, burying my face in a feather-soft pillow. Sleep claimed me swiftly, wrapped in the comfort of my silken cocoon and the promise of sweet revenge. I am Zhao Xianwan, the eldest legitimate daughter of the founding emperor of the Great Yang Dynasty. My father, now His Majesty the Emperor, had once been nothing more than a mud-legged peasant barely scraping by. But he'd picked up a few scraps of learning, enough to convince himself he bore the weight of the world's salvation on his shoulders. When he saw the people starving, corpses littering the roads while the wealthy feasted behind their crimson gates, rage ignited in his heart. He raised a banner of rebellion and in 5 grueling years, he toppled the rotting husk of the old dynasty. The masses crowned him emperor, and he christened his new realm Yong. In his days of hardship, my father had married a woman of the Ma clan, my mother. She bore him twins, a son, Zhao Yuanxin, named Crown Prince the moment father ascended the throne, and me, Zhao Xianwan, titled Princess Jiang, granted a fief of 3,000 households and honors beyond measure. According to father's old comrades, mother was a warrior in her own right, riding into battle at his side. But those campaigns left her with a lingering illness, and she passed less than a year after he took the throne. Father was inconsolable. He clutched my brother and me, sobbing until his voice gave out, even confessing to his chief minister, if not for these children being so young, I'd follow her to the grave. When mother was buried, he nearly fainted from grief. It was the minister who managed the rites. In the 20 years since, only 2 other children were born in the palace, both daughters. The elder, just 2 years my junior, was the product of a concubine who thought mother's death left an opening. She used unsavory tricks to climb into father's bed, but when he learned of her pregnancy, he flew into a rage. The moment the child was born, he cast her into the princess's quarters and banished the mother to the cold palace. Rumor has it the woman lost her mind soon after. That unfortunate girl inherited a trace of the Zhao family's looks, but father couldn't stand the sight of her. She went nameless. For years, simply called second princess by the court. When she was 4, father took a new consort, Lady Liang, who bore a striking resemblance to mother. Their daughter, Yao, the third princess, was the spitting image of me as a child. Only then did father belatedly grant the second princess a name, Jinger quiet, as in thank you for not causing me trouble all these years. As for my prince consort, Shen Huaiming, he hailed from the Shen clan, a true aristocratic family, standing tall through centuries and countless dynasties. Father, being a newly crowned emperor, needed to secure his rule by allying with such houses. At first, he balked at the match. Shen Huaiming's haughty demeanor grated on him, a stuffed pork bun with his nose in the air, as father put it. But I insisted. For father's sake, I told myself it was my duty. Besides, I'd chosen this pork bun myself. I was 12 that year, during a spring hunting expedition. Zhao Jinger, then 10, tagged along as my companion. She was obedient enough, never stirring up trouble, her mad mother long dead, and father, though he despised her, couldn't deny she was his blood. Still, he made it clear, a princess could never compare to a legitimate one like me. So he dumped her in my care, a glorified servant to fetch tea and water. It didn't take long for rumors to swirl from the palace maids. The grand princess was a tyrant, bullying the poor, motherless second princess into servitude. I laughed coldly when I heard it and summoned Zhao Jinger to explain herself. She knelt, pale as death, pressing her forehead to the floor. Eldest sister, serving you is my honor. I wouldn't dare complain. Is that so? I said, smiling. Then it seems someone's spreading lies to drive a wedge between us sisters. I had the offending maid dragged in and beaten until she was a bloody, whimpering mess. Zhao Jinger trembled harder, and I smirked. So young, yet already playing these little games, truly her mother's daughter. Bending down, I met her teary gaze with a saccharine smile. Little sister, did I force you to serve me? If you think it's your duty, then drop the theatrics. Understood. She nodded, choking on sobs. Yes, eldest sister, I understand. Her crying grated on my nerves, so when the hunt began, I spurred my horse into the forest, grateful she couldn't ride and was stuck, whining in the carriage. The hunting grounds were vast and dense, and I wasn't there to shoot game, just to escape the noise. After losing a few arrows and missing every rabbit, I grew bored and wandered deeper, losing my way. I wasn't worried. If I vanished for more than half an hour, father's men would find me. But someone else was panicking, a boy's voice, shouting for help. A loyal daughter of Yong, I couldn't ignore a subject in distress. Tying my horse, I raced toward the sound. An old hunter's trap, a pit twice a man's height, yawned open, meant for tigers or bears. I clung to the edge, one hand slipping. I grabbed his arm, shouting for him to climb the sides. Whether he was exhausted or just dim-witted, he yanked me down with him instead. A thick bed of leaves cushioned our fall. I was dazed, but he hit a rock and yelped in pain. Irritated, I snapped, enough already. Your leg's not broken, quit howling. Rolling up his trouser leg, I saw only a bruise and nearly mocked his dramatics. But his face, strikingly handsome, made me hold my tongue. As dusk fell, visibility fading, I beckoned him closer. Come here, I'm cold. He shuffled over reluctantly, and I asked, whose son are you? Did your family abandon you? No, he stammered. I'm Shen Huaiming. I just got lost. What's your name? I almost gave my real name, but father's tales of a betrothed fiancé stopped me. Mischief sparked. Jinger, I lied. I'm Jinger. He nodded dumbly. Jinger, aren't you scared? I nearly laughed. Me scared? With father's shadow guards watching my every move? By morning at the latest, my family will find me. Don't worry. The pit was well hidden in the deep woods, and father's guards didn't locate me until dawn. I'd trained in martial arts under father, but the boy hadn't. He was blue with cold, his bruise swollen, unable to walk. Sighing, I had the guards hoist him out and lent him a horse. Father inspected me head to toe when I returned, swatted me twice, barely enough to kill a fly, and threatened to lock me indoors forever. My glare silenced him. On the ride back, I realized I'd lost the jade pendant I'd worn since childhood. It must have fallen in the pit, not priceless, but sentimental. Still, I shrugged it off. A trinket wasn't worth the trouble. My betrothed, it turned out, was a disaster. His father had been a decent man, but after his death, the son spiraled, drinking, whoring, ruining his health until he looked like a walking corpse. Father gave up on him, refusing to let me marry such a wretch. But canceling the engagement outright would make the imperial family seem fickle. Luckily, the betrothal hadn't specified which daughter, so father turned his gaze to Zhao Jing'er. Unloved or not, she was a princess, good enough for the job. With my wedding off, time marched on. Father let me choose anew, and when I saw Shen Huaiming, I swore he resembled that boy from the pit. Fate, I thought, grinning. Ignoring father's protests, I plunged headfirst into this doomed marriage. On my wedding day, father wept like a child, propped up by my brother as he watched me fade into the distance. In the sedan, I meant to roll my eyes but shed a tear instead. He emptied his private treasury for my dowry, chest after chest of riches, refurbished the princess's mansion 12 times, and granted me a fief of 1,000 households, fertile lands, and 10 shadow guards led by Qin Chong. Only when he was sure I'd hold financial sway over the Shen family did he relent. I teased him for fussing. I'm the one marrying, but they're the ones bowing to me. Who in the Shen clan would dare cross me? Tired of living? Want their whole family exiled 3,000 miles. He chuckled, then whispered, with all this wealth, don't bother profiting off the people. It'd look bad for a princess. I flared up. My one hobby is making money, and you'd take that too? Are you still my father? Pale with fright, he placated me with 3 hours of coaxing and 2 prime shop runs in the capital. Our dreams were grand, but the Shen family had other plans. After the wedding, Shen Huaiming's mother didn't even spare me a bracelet. Blinded by my joy at marrying my pit-rescued boy, I barely noticed. That night, candlelight bathed the bridal chamber. Gazing at Shen Huaiming, I was smitten, until a memory struck. Husband, I cooed, when you were 13 or 14, did you ever fall into a trap and spend a night stuck there? He glanced at me, a cold smirk curling his lips. Yes, a girl saved me. My heart leapt. It was him. I nearly clapped his shoulder and crowed, that was me, you fool. But I restrained myself. What a coincidence. You remember. His tone chilled further. I do. I'm grateful to Jing'er for her help. Realizing my old lie, I laughed. Not Jing'er Xianwan. I couldn't give my real name then, but now you know. You promised to repay me if we met again. Does that still stand? He sneered faintly. Princess, with all your riches, what could I possibly offer? Blushing, I murmured, to grow old together, of course. He laughed, a dry, mocking sound I didn't catch then, bowed stiffly, and said, Your Highness, and old ailments flared up. I'm not fit for consummation tonight. Let's delay it. He didn't seem to be lying, so I believed him, urging him to rest. Days later, his complexion rosy, I broached it again. He brushed me off. After several attempts, my patience snapped. What's this, husband? Do you find me unworthy? Or can't you perform? He froze, then knelt, face ashen, humiliation etched into his features. I regretted my words, fumbling to soften them, but he gritted out, I took strong medicine to recover quickly. It damaged me. The doctor forbids intimacy. Stunned, I thought, no way, he's actually impotent? I wanted to drag the doctor in for answers, but to spare his pride, I didn't press. For 2 years, I tiptoed around his manly dignity, convincing myself a pretty vase was fine. Look, don't touch. He grew distant, and the matter faded. When I first learned of his affair with Zhao Jing'er, I couldn't fathom it. Her too? Over that vase? Later, I realized the fool was me, pitiful, laughable me. I awoke from my dream, the sky outside dimming. Juyue brought me warm pear tea, her smirk barely contained. What time is it? 3/4 past the hour of Shin, she said, glee creeping into her voice. Those two, the prince consort and Princess Jing'er have been kneeling for 2 hours. Lady Chen's keeping watch. I nodded absently, gesturing for her to help me up. I chose a stunning robe, applied flawless makeup, and adorned myself with my favorite 5 Phoenix sunrise hairpin and a pair of gleaming gold bracelets. Dressed to dazzle, I caught Juyue's admiring gaze. Your Highness looks best like this, she said sincerely. I smiled faintly. Shen Huaiming's aloofness once made me think he disdained my finery, noble scholar that he was, so I dressed plainly. To please him, like a widow in mourning. Recalling father's shock and pity when he saw me then, I felt a pang of guilt. Unfilial indeed. As I primped, Juyue leaned in, whispering, Oh, Your Highness, Shen's mother showed up earlier. Shen's mother. It took a moment to register, my nominal mother-in-law. In all our years of marriage, I'd barely seen her beyond the wedding tea ceremony. I'd arrived with dreams of a harmonious family, but she'd soured that fast, demanding I hand over my dowry to buy her younger son a grand estate and fund his career, blaming my princess status for ruining her eldest's prospects. Before I could erupt, Lady Qin had slapped her 5 times, lecturing her on the Zhao family's virtues. Then I'd made her kneel in the hall while Lady Qin taught her propriety for an hour. Shen Huaiming's face had darkened like a storm cloud. He'd raged at me for disrespecting his mother, calling me unvirtuous and unwomanly. He moved to the study after that, rarely setting foot in my courtyard, his demeanor icy ever since. I'd felt guilty for ages until now. He must have been thrilled, I realized. A prince consort couldn't hold office, but he drew a stipend, and my mansion supported him. Other consorts had to charm their princesses. He dodged that entirely. A cushy life with no work, better than any promotion or widowed bliss, and he still wasn't satisfied? I'd resolved to stomach my chosen pork bun, but a year later, that changed. Juyue, out shopping, spotted Shen Huaiming's servant sneaking to Zhao Jinger's mansion. Suspicious. She staked it out and saw my husband slink out a side gate. She reported back, and I tasked Qin Chong and Lady Qin with digging deeper. Sure enough, they unearthed proof. At first, I'd raged over the evidence Qin Chong gathered. Now, my heart was still as a pond. What a refined gentleman, living off my dowry while keeping my half-sister as a mistress, reveling in his double delight. Before entering the hall, I heard a pitiful whimper. Brother Huaiming. Jinger hurts. Juyue rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd stick. Lady Chen's stern voice cut through. Second princess, your noble body's hardly suffering. I even laid out a cushion mat for you. Where's the pain? This is Princess Jiayang's domain. Instead of whining to the prince consort, save your breath to beg her forgiveness. She's magnanimous. She might let you up if she's pleased. I silently cheered. Lady Qin, the sharpest tongue in the palace. Soft sobs followed. Zhao Jinger's signature damsel act, no doubt. I savored it, stepping in just as Lady Qin announced, "All hail Princess Jiayang." She shot me a look, "Wrap this up quick," so I schooled my face into calm authority, gliding to the main seat. From my perch, I surveyed the trio. Shin's mother looked a wreck, her once elegant face marred by red welts from bamboo slaps, her hair and robes disheveled. She glared at me like a butcher hawking pork, but the maids pinned her down, silencing her shrieks. Shen Huaiming seethed, legs trembling, likely from the guard's kicks when he'd resisted kneeling. His white robe bore 2 muddy boot prints, a far cry from his usual polish. Zhao Jinger cowered, but venom glinted in her eyes. Sweat beaded her brow, her lips nearly bleeding from biting, her pale face a mask of agony, like she'd faint any second. I glanced at her swollen belly, barely hidden by loose robes, and smiled. Little sister, you're with child. Kneeling like this, won't your husband worry? Oh, wait, he passed a year ago. What's this? A ghost's love lingering, leaving you pregnant with a spirit's spawn. She choked, darting a pleading look at Shen Huaiming, who clenched his jaw, too guilty to speak. Sipping my tea, I asked, "How far along are you, second sister?" Lady Qin stepped forward. "Your Highness, when she complained of pain, I called a doctor. 5 months, he said, healthy and well-nourished. Kneeling a bit won't harm her." "Oh," I said, feigning disappointment. I was about to let her up. "Never mind." Shen Huaiming's forehead veins bulged. "Zhao Xianwan, how can you be so vicious?" I tilted my head. "You dare address me by name, Prince Consort? What's that called?" Lady Qin chimed in seamlessly. "Gross disrespect. Guards, 10 slaps for him." He gaped as if I wouldn't dare. When the bamboo cracked against his face, his arrogance morphed to disbelief, his pretty eyes boring into me. I sipped my dragon well tea unfazed, listening to the rhythmic thwack until it stopped. The once dashing Shen was a mess, hair wild, cheeks swollen like a pig's head, his beauty useless now. He still glared, defiant. I leaned back against a cushioned pillow, counting Zhao Jinger's whimpers, 8, until Lady Chen's 5th pointed glance prompted me. Clearing my throat, I said, "Your husband's been dead a year, yet you're 5 months pregnant, little sister. Busy, aren't you? Who's the kind soul who sowed the seed? Tell me, I'll ask father to grant him a title, so he's not toiling for nothing." Their faces paled as my implication sank in. Shin Huaiming, jaw tight, rasped, "The child's mine. Jiang, once you've vented, let Jinger offer tea and join the Shin family as a concubine, a high one, given her status and your kinship." Jiayang. He softened his tone, but contempt flickered in his eyes. "You've taken so much from her. As her elder sister, can't you yield just once? Must you drive her to death? If you still want to be my wife, accept her." Lady Chin sneered. The prince consort's lost his wits. "Need a few more slaps to speak sense?" I laughed. "You're sure it's yours? Weren't you impotent? Careful, someone's cuckolded you, and you're eager to play the fool." Shin's mother shrieked before he could reply, her voice hoarse as a strangled hen. "Wicked woman! Wicked woman! How dare you insult my son? Huaiming, divorce her. She's barren, unfilial, unrighteous. No wife like this exists under heaven." I smiled sweetly. "Shin madam, your son told me himself he can't sire children. I'm not to blame for no heirs. And if anyone's divorcing, it's me divorcing him." "Oh, and didn't I warn you? Come here again, and I'd have your legs broken and toss you back to the Shen estate." She bared her teeth, ready to curse, but Lady Chin intervened, soothing me while barking, "Gag that hag and haul her to the Shin house. Don't let her nonsense upset her highness." With her gone, I studied Shin Huaiming. His elegance was gone, eyes evasive, posture broken. Why had I fought to marry him? His looks? Faded now, worn by years and excess. Toying with my tea, I said, "You just spouted madness about me accepting her, husband. Do you know what it'd cost you to stop being my consort?" Turning to Zhao Jinger, I added, "He says I've robbed you blind. He's an outsider, ignorant, but you, sister, what have I taken?" She faltered, mute, as Shin Huaiming shielded her, retorting, "Didn't you impersonate her to steal my love? Force her into a loveless marriage, leaving her widowed and scorned, fit only to be my concubine? Can you swear you've no guilt toward her?" I stared, incredulous. "Steal your love? What's it worth, a copper coin?" He sputtered, then roared, voice oddly shrill, "Princess, heaven watches. Such malice, aren't you afraid of divine wrath?" "Me malicious?" I laughed. He doubled down, reckless. "You tormented her in the palace, framed consort Yoon to drive her mad in the cold palace, foisted a wastrel on Jinger to ruin her life, and lied to me on our wedding night." Zhao Jinger sobbed, "Brother Huaiming, no, brother-in-law, stop." He hushed her. "Don't fear, Jinger." Then, to me, "If she hadn't told me her name, I'd have been fooled. A viper like you deserves death. How dare you still breathe?" I shrugged. "Think, Shin Huaiming. Her mother was banished when I was 2, how could I scheme then? And do you even know why she was cast out?" Zhao Jinga shook her head, tears streaming. I pressed on, cold. "Her mother, fresh off mother's death, used vile tricks to bed father. When he learned she was pregnant, he was furious. Dozens were implicated. Sparing Zhao Jinger was mercy enough, yet you weep before me." He faltered, whispering, "But she's innocent." "Innocent?" I snapped. "Tell that to her mother. If your father, grieving your mother, was seduced and sired a child, could you call that sibling innocent? You're quick to pity, Shin Huaiming, when it's father who is shamed and me who's slandered. She whimpers, and you absolve her? Pathetic. And I've never wronged her," I continued. "When the palace skimped her allowance, I reprimanded them. When her manners were mocked, I found her tutors. Father betrothed her to that wastrel, I warned him for her sake, since she replaced me. She couldn't leash her man? Am I to blame? I've honored her from start to finish. How's she repaid me? Betting you a year ago, wasn't it?" His lips parted, face gray. Smiling softly, I mused, "Speaking of a year ago, East City's fire. You're no magistrate or guard, yet you vanished all night. Where were you?" He couldn't answer. "Let me guess," I said. "At her mansion, cuddling your Jinger, saying, 'If only Jiayang died in that blaze.'" He blanched. "You spied on me." I flicked my nails. "Not me, Qin Chong stumbled on it and told me. I was furious, so I vented to father. He scolded me for poor taste, then lent me 5 men from the Tianji camp. For a year, every word you've spat, including your curses against father's reign, has landed in the imperial study. The Tianji camp, father's spy network, fed us gems like, 9th day, Prince Consort, between lunch and tea, reviled Princess Jiayang and His Majesty, saying, A. Peasant on the throne, ordering my noble house, where's heaven's justice? Father fumed at first, but we turned it into a game, rating Shen Huaiming's insults. That fire, though, was odd. It started in Clearwater Lane, half a street from my mansion, yet mine burned worst. I lived in the palace for 6 months after. The Qianji camp found Zhao Jing'er's maids among my new hires on the night of the blaze. They doused my quarters with oil and set it alight. No link to Shen Huaiming, oddly. Still, their synergy was poetic. He wished me dead in words. She tried it indeed. A perfect pair. His eyes dimmed with pain. After a long breath, he murmured, Juyue, you accuse me and her, haven't you wronged me too? You and Qin Chong, any illicit ties there? I met his gaze, calm as stone, not a ripple in my heart. Qin Chong is my shadow guard, more precisely, the head of my shadow guards. Men like him, forged in the crucible of tragedy, possess a rare blend of desperation, courage, and unmatched skill. Qin Chong is no exception. An orphan, his parents lost to some forgotten calamity, he was plucked from a pile of corpses by my father, the emperor, back when father was still clawing his way to power. That act of mercy bound Qin Chong to him with unshakable loyalty, a devotion that now extends to me. His martial prowess is extraordinary, but his true talent lies in slipping through the world unnoticed, gathering gossip like a phantom. Nearly every juicy tidbit that reaches my ears comes from his stealthy whispers. When the fire broke out at the princess's mansion, it was Qin Chong who led the imperial guards to my rescue. True to his shadow guard roots, he moved with ruthless efficiency. Hearing that my beloved jewelry box was still trapped in my burning bedroom, he didn't hesitate, charging through the flames to retrieve it, risking his life for a handful of trinkets I cherished. That night, I didn't cry from fear or fury. No, it was this gruff, soot-streaked giant who brought tears to my eyes with his reckless devotion. Now, mulling over Shen Huaiming's wild accusation, I found myself drifting. Maybe he'd stumbled onto something brilliant by mistake. Qin Chong's loyal, capable, and unexpectedly endearing might just be the perfect candidate for my second spring. Snapping back to the moment, I flicked my gaze between the wretched pair before me and said airily, so what? I'm a princess, aren't I? 3 husbands, 4 attendants, 8 or 9 lovers, perfectly normal, no. Shen Huaiming's face turned a delightful shade of eggplant purple. I watched them coolly. Zhao Jing'er's forehead glistened with cold sweat, her delicate frame trembling. Shen Huaiming, frantic, pleaded, Juyue, let Jing'er up, she's losing the baby. If this goes on. I cut him off with a shrug. That's your problem, not mine. It's your child, not the princess's. He pressed on, desperate. Once she joins the Shen household, her child will honor you as its legitimate mother. Laughter burst from me, sharp and unrestrained, before my face hardened. I slammed my cushioned pillow with a resounding thwack. Shen Huaiming, in all the dynasties, no house that marries. A princess has dared take a concubine. Does your Shen family think itself above the heavens? To make a princess a concubine, such insolence defies imperial majesty. You've got some nerve. I was done wasting breath on them. Even one more glance felt like a chore. Standing, I turned to Lady Chen. Is he here? She nodded crisply. The blade master's been waiting. I sipped my tea to wet my throat, then waved a hand. Take him away. 2 guards seized Shen Huaiming, hoisting him up. Panic flashed across his face. Juyue, where are you sending me? I tilted my head, smiling faintly. Didn't you tell me your foundation was damaged, explaining why we never consummated? Yet you swear Zhao Jing'er's child is yours. Lying to the throne is a crime that wipes out entire clans. Since we're husband and wife, I'm doing you a favor, fixing your little contradiction. He blinked, still clueless. Lady Chen, ever the venomous wit, chimed in with a smirk. Your Highness, I hear boars are castrated before they're fattened up. Exactly, I grinned. Makes the meat tastier. Realization crashed over Shen Huaiming like a wave. His legs buckled, and he crumpled, dragged off by the guards, a broken man. Zhao Jing'er wailed, Brother Huaiming. What's happening? Where are you going? Eldest sister, you've misunderstood him. He loves you most. Please spare him. I chuckled at her theatrics. Relax, he's not dying yet. I'm just sending him for a little education. A lesson in pig castration, to be precise. My mood soared. Turning to the sobbing Zhao Jing'er, I purred. Don't worry, little sister. It's your turn now. An attendant stepped forward, presenting a tray with the classic trio of doom, a strip of white silk, a bowl of abortion broth, and a dagger. The perfect send-off package. Zhao Jing recoiled, stammering, "Eldest sister, what's this? You can't do this. I'm father's daughter too. You can't treat me like this." I nodded calmly. "Which is why this comes from father. I've got the edict right here, wanna see it? Don't fret, though. The broth and silk are for you. The dagger's reserved for my dear husband." A few days earlier, I'd visited father in the palace. He greeted me like a giddy child, all 200 pounds of him, beaming as if I'd brought him the moon. We nibbled pastries, sipped tea, and chatted until dusk crept in, the palace gates nearly shutting. Only then did he dismiss the attendants and get serious. "You've known about your husband's filth for ages. Why haven't you acted?" I shrugged, evasive. Soon. I'm waiting for them to waltz into my trap, then I'll lock the door and unleash the hounds." Father rubbed his hands, grinning. "Fair point. Storming their turf would make us look too brash." His eager hand-rubbing was so un-emperor-like I swatted him twice. He pouted, a sulky giant, then had a massive basket of shenhuaiming and Zhao Jinger's crimes hauled in. Flipping through the evidence, he scribbled an edict, marveling, "On. How do such people exist?" "They're bored of living and want to die," I said dryly. "Why pick such an undignified way to go?" he mused. "Hey, their lives are dull. Can't they spice up their exit?" He chuckled. "True. Help me sort this. I'm drafting the edict." I slapped the booklet shut. "Don't waste time. I'll dictate, you write." Grumbling, he obeyed. Should have executed him half a year ago. He curses me daily. I glanced up. "You've sorted the agriculture, irrigation, and paperwork?" He preened. "Done ages ago. With your help, on. It's like wings on a tiger, or aiding a tyrant, huh? Most noble families caught the hint early and towed the line. Only the Shen clan's too dense to see the end coming. 1,000-year lineage, and this is it." "Shut it," I snapped. "Don't butcher idioms, you're making us sound like villains." He finished the edict and divorce decree, smirking. "I'm killing my daughter, you're gelding your husband. We're already the bad guys." I blinked, then laughed. "Oh, right. Father, truly a sage of twisted wisdom." Back in the hall, Zhao Jinger's protests failed. Guards forced the abortion broth down her throat. Shen Huaiming, drenched in sweat and pale as death, was carted back in. The stench of blood clung to them both. Lady Chun discreetly handed me a scented handkerchief to shield my nose. The moment he entered, Shen Huaiming unleashed a tirade. "Wretch! You vile wretch! The Shen family won't let this go." Lady Chen's tongue lashed out. "The Blade Master's skill is impeccable, lost his manhood and still so lively." I snickered. "Of course. Qin Chong found me a seasoned expert." Ignoring our barbs, Shen Huaiming turned to Zhao Jinger, anguished. "Jinger, are you okay? What did they do?" She wheezed, tears streaking her face. "Brother Huaiming, the baby, it's gone." "You venomous hag, Zhao Xianwan," he roared, spitting blood. "You won't even spare your own sister." Lady Chun grinned. "The prince consort's a fool to the end, still defending her. Lucky for us he's blind, couldn't even recognize his true savior. Let the second princess pick up the trash and spare your highness the trouble." Then, icily, she added, "You've only yourself to blame, prince consort. A brainless boar brought this on." Her pent-up fury was glorious. Shen Huaiming faltered. "What do you mean?" I smirked. "Let me break it down for you. You thought Zhao Jinger saved you that day because I said my name was Jinger and you found my jade pendant. When you returned it to her, she didn't correct you, did she?" He glanced at Zhao Jinger, who averted her eyes. "Want to know something?" I continued. "That pendant was crafted by Master Wu. His quirk was etching his name inside, visible only in light, a trendy touch no other artisan matched. To make him a knowing ghost, I clapped. Qin Chong strode in, holding the pendant. I'd sent him to Zhao Jinger's mansion during their kneeling to retrieve it. Shen Huaiming's fingers shook as he took it. "Light," I ordered Qin Chong, who obliged. I leaned back. "What do you see?" "Read it." His voice quavered. "Year of Ancient. 7th of the 7th. Gifted to Jiayang. Wu." He stared at me, then at Zhao Jinger, reeling as if he'd faint. Her mask slipped, venom naked on her face. I regarded her impassively. "See? I told you as a child, don't heed your sister, and you'll suffer." If you're going to play servant, commit. Halfway switching to mistress, what's it gotten you? Some twisted sister-in-law fetish, little sister? You're deranged. She sneered back. You dare ask me, Zhao Xianwan? All these years, have you ever treated me as human? Made me your slave, did you once think of me as your sister? I sighed. No point hiding it now. Honestly? Not a bit. Her glare sharpened. But I went on, I figured if you were just timid, not scheming like your mother, I'd treat you as a stranger, give you what's due. You disappointed me. Spreading rumors in the palace, accusing me of witchcraft, faking poisonings to frame me. Fine. But pushing Xi Niao into the koi pond at 12, that was you too, wasn't it? She didn't deny it, silent, perhaps regretting her countless plots landing her here. I waved a hand. Father wanted you both dead the moment he learned of this, but I begged for mercy. He grudgingly spared your lives. They looked up, skeptical of my kindness. Qin Chong, I said, lend your dagger to the prince consort. He grumbled, no way, it'll get dirty. I laughed, glaring until he reluctantly tossed a blade from his coat to Shen Huaiming. Zhao Jinger grabbed the other, wary. Smiling, I said, a ruler's word is law. I'll spare one life. Discuss, who gets it? Before I finished, Shen Huaiming lunged, plunging his dagger into Zhao Jinger's chest. She froze, mid-hesitation, betrayed by her half-true lover. He cackled like a madman, crawling to me on his knees. Xianwan, look. I killed her, I avenged you. I blinked, baffled. Avenged me. She deceived me, hurt you. She deserved it, he rambled. An hour ago, I was the one who deserved death. Sighing at the absence of true love, I patted his cheek. Think this atones for your sins? That you'll live and we'll play house again. He choked. If your highness doesn't mind. I mind, I snapped. Where did this castrated fool find the gall? Turning to Lady Qin, I asked, what's the penalty for harming royalty under Yang law? Death by slow slicing, she replied. Oh! I chirped. Drag him out and start cutting. His screams echoed as they hauled him away, fading to silence. Zhao Jinger tried to burn me alive, attempted fratricide, and bedded her sister's husband, I mused. But she's a Zhao, so give her a decent corpse. Dump it in the mass grave. The prince consort? Someone else's son, handle him however's easiest. The blood stink soured the room, bad luck. Lifting my skirts, I swept back to the palace. Soon after, Lady Qin reported, Your Highness, the prince consort's dead. My condolences. I couldn't grin too widely, so I feigned sorrow. How many cuts? She winced. Less than 300, he passed. I'd scared. The justice ministry's sloppy. Father wanted 3,000 cuts, such a bargain for him. She soothed me. He suffered plenty, muttering your name to the end. Puh, I spat. Deluded creep. Disgusting. Shen Huaiming's death was the Shen family's undoing. Father, tireless since his coronation, had no patience for leeches. Agriculture, industry, exams. Military, all rested in his and his old allies' hands. The old noble houses were obsolete. The meek ones lingered in the capital, clawing up from minor posts. The restless got shipped to backwaters, barred from return until they shaped up. The Shen clan, though, stood out. Father aired their treasonous rants, just a taste. Sparking public outrage. Their house was razed, men enslaved, women sent to brothels. A millennium-old dynasty toppled overnight. Crowds cheered as it burned. I even heard street tales of me enduring humiliation to bring them down, marrying Shen Huaiming as a noble sacrifice. I bought the book, well written, though it painted me as a burly Amazon. Sure, I can draw a 40-stone bow, but I'm still a delicate willow, thank you very much. Savoring the tale in my chambers, Lady Chen entered. Princess, Shadow Guard Commander Qin Chong requests an audience. I frowned. What for? He bowed in, gruffly saying he wanted to check on me post Shen Huaiming. I guessed Father sent him, chuckling as I offered him a seat and tea. He sipped, eyes lighting up. Flower tea with honey? Sweet and fragrant, delicious. I laughed. I adore extravagance, but crave simple tastes, bitter teas like Dragon Well or Phoenix Single Bush bore me. Honeyed flower. Tea's my vice. Shen Huaiming scoffed at it, pontificating on tea's elegance. Hearing Qin Chong's earthy praise felt refreshing. He blushed at my smile. I've overstepped, Your Highness. Nonsense, I waved. If you like it, I'll have some packed for you. His puppy-like glee as he carted off 3 pounds of tea was comical, like he'd robbed me blind. I didn't mind. Before leaving, he hefted his haul and murmured, judging by His Majesty's mood, "I'll be troubling you often, princess." Grinning, I flashed my teeth and waved a handkerchief. Father's man is my man, Commander Qin. Don't be a stranger. Visit anytime. He turned, ears glowing red in the sunset. True to his word, Qin Chong popped by every few days. I counted off duty, he raced here. On rest days, he was a fixture. Outsiders might have thought him my retainer. Juyue whispered, "Princess, that blockhead's smitten with you, isn't he?" I smiled, silent. She muttered later, "Still, be cautious. What if he's another ladder climber? He's craftier than Shen Huaiming, faking it so well." Lady Chen cut her off. "Who let you gossip about Her Highness? Mind your place." Juyue stuck out her tongue and hushed. Propping my cheek, I pondered, troubled. Was Qin Chong sweet on me? I couldn't tell. Laughably, despite my years, I'd only ever pined for Shen Huaiming, mistaking infatuation for love. Romance baffled me, thanks to my upbringing. Consort Liang, the highest ranking, was too deferential, consulting me on palace matters until I wed. I became a matriarch by default. While other girls mastered arts and graces, I, the Grand Princess, tallied rice, salt, and silver, penny pinching like a merchant. At 16, Exine Yao swooned over a pretty cousin. I fixated on Shen Huaiming, blind to what love really was. Juyue's words left me adrift. I tried to stop thinking, but Qin Cheng's moments with me crept in. His rugged looks, sharp brows, starry eyes lacked Shen Huaiming's polish, but outshone him in presence, broad-shouldered and towering. And he was absurdly earnest. A total dolt, really. Days ago, I'd mentioned loving Lotus Crisps from Fuxing shop as a child. Palace chefs couldn't replicate that taste. He'd risen before dawn for days, queuing at Fuxiang to snag the first batch for me. Locals whispered the shop broke some law, or its ingredients were suspect, prompting my inspections. The chubby owner wept at my gates, begging mercy. I became their mascot to quell the rumors. Gently, I told Qin Chong the shop would deliver if asked, no need for his heroics. He visibly deflated, and I felt awful. Next day, no crisps. Instead, he brought a hairpin, glass-set mandarin ducks with tassels, and a gleaming pearl. Stunning, but I recognized it, golden branch, jade leaf, my design for my own Linglong shop. One of 5 limited pieces, priced at 150 taels, it had likely soared higher on the market. Guiltily, I asked, "How much did this cost you?" He grinned. "Not much, 300 taels. The seller gave me half off. Good thing I saved my pay." I cringed. I'd swindled years of his wages, father and I, a pair of crooks. No, I protested, like a parent refusing New Year's cash for a kid. Quick as lightning, he slipped it into my jewelry box. Clever man. Half a month passed without Qin Chong. I paced the mansion, tearing up at wilting flowers, wincing at falling leaves, appetite gone suddenly, a sentimental wreck. Autumn's fault, probably. As I wandered, Juyue handed me an invitation. Qin Chong, asking me to Tianqing Tower for dinner. Autumn's melancholy lifted. I felt spry, devouring 3 bowls of roe deer meat at lunch. There, he slid a booklet across the table, head bowed, mute. "What's this?" I asked. He fidgeted, twisting his robe, then mumbled, "Your Highness, it's His Majesty's list of prince consort candidates." No food yet, but I was full of rage. Containing it, I asked, "Are you on it?" He peeked up, then down, stammering, I don't think so." "Then I won't look. Take it back." His voice shrank. "But it's His Majesty's will." I slammed the table. "He doesn't rule me." Qin Chong, 2 questions. 1, are you in that book? He paused, earnest. "I don't know, Your Highness." His Majesty said it's for your eyes only. I didn't peek. I nearly toppled over. Such a stickler. Softening, I asked, 2, do you like me? Would you marry me? "That's 2 questions, he said. I choked, glaring. "Answer what I ask, you oaf. No dawdling, speak. Think hard, you get 1 shot." He glanced up, inhaled deeply, and opened his mouth, just as a waiter burst in, chirping, "Sorry for the wait. Here's our lover's delight, free for Qiqiao Festival, wishing all couples eternal bliss." Catching the tension, he chuckled awkwardly and scurried out, leaving the dish, a mocking symbol of romance, in the silence. I fumed. Qin Chong's delay screamed reluctance. Too scared to defy me, too indifferent to care. Men, I thought bitterly, never love a woman above them. Why toy with me crisps, hairpins, if it's all fake? Father's orders, of course. Tears pricked. I clutched my handkerchief, cursing myself. Zhao Xianwan, you're nothing. Minister loves princess, Qin Chong said suddenly. And would marry your highness. I huffed. Don't humor me. If you don't, say it, don't lie for my sake. It's beneath you. His voice rose, firm. I truly admire your highness. I'd marry you. Spare me, I grumbled. We've barely spoken 200 words. Don't bother. He flustered. Princess, you don't understand. We've met before. Yeah, when I stormed out after fighting Shen Huaiming and nodded at you by the palace gate. No, he insisted. When you were 12. That age prickled me. I looked up. Meeting my eyes, he straightened, emboldened. You still lived in the palace. I'd taken His Majesty's secret missive but was gravely wounded, collapsing. On the path from the inner court to Jiaowang Hall. You stayed calm, delivered the letter, spared me punishment, and saved my life. Ever since. His voice dwindled, sheepish. I've been grateful. I worked years to earn His Majesty's ear, volunteering to guard you after your wedding. The first prince consort was unworthy, Minister. He stumbled, tongue-tied. I smacked my forehead. Yes, that night. Year-end chaos, banquets, budgets, repairs. I'd crunch numbers till midnight. Taking a shortcut home. A bloody figure with a guard's token lay there. A nobody in father's ranks, but I couldn't leave him. A casual rescue. My heart twisted. One I'd saved swore vengeance. This one nursed gratitude. Fate's cruel jest. As he floundered, I laughed. Qin Chong, one more time? Is your name in that book? He grinned, catching on. Your Highness, it can be.